City, a little town where I'm from, where everybody's southern raised, just as good as they come. Backwoods and Macioke and mud holes, and back then we only gave what the farm grow. Man, I miss some days how we played on them dirt roads, and out of towners came with respect, cause they know we all close. Yeah, Southern pride, towing gun folks. Welcome to my city, I-75 South, just north of Live Oak.
I'm from a city called Austin, Georgia, right on the border of Florida. I was raised on these dirt roads, mud tires, spin backwoods when they ride. This is small town living, yeah. Now welcome to my city, Town 229, turn it up so they can hear it loud. We get it up with big trucks and Hemis, pretty girls with moonshine and whiskey.
It's nothing like our dirt roads, you can bet that, son. I'm from a city, by any means, we gon' protect our guns. I hang with the rednecks and geekies. We get up in big trucks in the backwoods like Indians and teepees. This the home of the mighty, mighty Vikings. Wildcats, blazing, Titletown license. Winners, pretty girls with country grammar. When I say about Austin, Georgia, I ain't talking about Atlanta. This a different type of city, where the woods are pretty, but get gritty. You hear me? What you know about that 229? You can find us on the Florida, Georgia line, where I reside.
I'm from a city called Austin, Georgia, right on the border of Florida. I was raised on these dirt roads, mud tires, spin backwoods when we ride. This is small town living, yeah. Now welcome to my city, Town 229, turn it up so they can hear it loud. We get it up with big trucks and Hemis, pretty girls with moonshine and whiskey. Moonshine and whiskey.
Some folks really don't understand how important it is and never forget where you came from. You know, when I say Lowndes County, man, I mean Lowndes County.
I'm from a city called Austin, Georgia, right on the border of Florida. I was raised on these dirt roads, mud tires, spin backwoods when they ride. This is small town living, yeah. Now welcome to my city, Town 229, turn it up so they can hear it loud. We get it up with big trucks and Hemis, pretty girls with moonshine and whiskey.
All right, Tattletown, how are you? You guys having a great week? Listen, all you sports maniacs out there, we are halfway through the season. Can you believe that? And the heat is just being turned up big time because you know what is right around the corner? That is region play. What we've been talking about all year long. This is the second part of the football season that we're about to enter. So we're going to have fun tonight talking about I guess a look back on the season up to date and then going forward. What can we expect or what do we hope to see? So I hope you guys have had a great week. If you're new to the program, welcome aboard. What you're going to find here is a bunch of rabid football fans that love the Lowndes Athletic program. But I got to remind you guys, we all got a little bit of touch of crazy in us when it comes to high school football. I call ourselves super fans. I'm one. You know the regular super fans that usually appear on the screen, and I would include all of you as super fans as well. Listen, if you are watching a show on social media about high school football year round, I consider you a super fan because you're just as crazy as we are. So anyway, so that if that kind of stuff appeals to you, welcome to the show. We got a great show for you because we are one Lowndes, one nation. We are the Viking Nation. So welcome to the program. Speaking of super fans, we're going to have some couple of super fans join us a little bit later on in the program. They're scheduled to appear. I hope they haven't forgotten. I don't think they will because they're usually a regular guest on the program. I had a fun conversation earlier today with none other than Touchdown Tisdale. You guys know him as Travis Tisdale, right? Can you guys still hear the echoes of the PA announcer over at Bazemore Hyder Stadium when Lowndes won 71-35, and all you heard all night long was touchdown Tisdale? It was music to our ears. So I had a chance to catch up with Travis today, and he is back in town. And so we're scheduling him to appear or to call into the show just to catch up with him, because that's one of our efforts this season, is to invite our former players to appear or call into the show so we can catch up with them, reminisce about the time they played for the mighty Lowndes Vikings and what they think about the program going forward. So we're working with Travis to do that. He couldn't make it tonight because of his schedule. So he's trying to, work it out in the next couple of weeks. So we'd like to have him live on the show to do that. But if we can't work it out with his schedule to be live, then I'll do a pre-recorded interview with him and play it live during the show. So that's the plan. So waiting for him to get back with us. So, that prompted an idea I had earlier today involving Travis and the Wintersville Classic. So I don't know if that's going to happen. Not going to share those details with you because I don't want to overpromise anything. So working on something, hopefully it can come to fruition. So we'll just have to wait and see. So how good does it sound to say Lowndes is 5-0? How good does that sound as a Lowndes fan? Because it's been quite a while since we've been able to say that. I thought anyway. So I went back and took a look at the actual, how long has it actually been since Lowndes is 5-0. So we're going to talk about that, the season that it involved. And, if you've got a guess or if you know the answer, go ahead and put it on the screen in the commentary section there. So how long has it been? When's the last time? What season was it when Lowndes went 5-0 last? It hasn't been in the last couple of seasons. That's for sure. So we'll get into that as well. So we got a pretty fun show for you tonight. We're going to take a look at the region. It's going to be a little bit more relaxed tonight. Because we don't have a game tomorrow night. All right. It's an open week. So where are you going to be tomorrow night? Are you going to take a break? You're going to go out with your significant other to dine at a local eatery? You're going to just chill out with Netflix and some soda or your favorite beverage at home? You're going to watch something streamed on TV? Or are you just going to hang out? Or are you going to go to another game in the area? So I'm still thinking about that. I'm probably going to end up going to, I think isn't there a game in Brooks County? So anyway, Casey Harrell. Listen, I got to put this. Casey, you just made my night. I'm just going to put this comment on the screen. A lot of people laughed at me when I made this prediction many, many months ago. Casey said, sounds fantastic. 5-0. You called it, Larry. But Casey, to be honest with you, that wasn't very hard to see. We knew we were at least going to be 3-0 after the first three opponents, just because of the strength of those opponents. Now, the two following that were a little bit more of a challenge, but going into that, I was pretty confident that we were going to be 5-0. Now, last week's game, it was a different kind of test. And I'm so glad we played that game because, listen, Kel, after playing Lowndes, is now they have 2 losses, but they were a worthy opponent. I'm sure you would agree with me when I make that statement, right? The Kel Longhorns are definitely a worthy opponent. So anyway, let me just go ahead and go to some of these comments. One of my super fans says, running late, getting back from the game. I understand. When you got a kid playing on the team, you're going to make sure you're going to be there. Don't blame them at all. So one of our super fans is going to show up a little bit later. The other one is probably in the middle of selling a car right now. So I don't blame him either. All right, so let's go to some of these comments. Candace basically says, you don't have anything over on me. Been saying get behind this team. Absolutely. Candace, absolutely. Let's go to some of these comments. Claudia Mine says, missing you guys. All right. Miss you too, Claudia. Billy Downing says LHS 27, TIF 0. That's JV play today. Stephanie Broom guesses 2020. Last time Lowndes was 5-0. Candace says 2019. Alicia Hilton, 2019. Andy Powell says, sounds great. He's referring to 5-0. Wish we would have put another TD on the board rather than waste the free gift. Andy, I don't know. I got to disagree with you. I understand where you're coming from. I understand the sentiment, definitely. But man, when you got the game readily in hand, I don't know. I'm just all for just taking the knee. That kind of, because especially when there's absolutely no way to lose the game now. You're up by several scores, but I understand your sentiment. I understand where you're coming from. Travis Hart says either 2020 or 21. Alicia Hilton, PCHS versus Northside. Come on up, LG. PC. Alicia, is that Perry? Or no, Peach County. You probably mean, is that Peach County High School versus? Yeah, that should be. Now, Peach County is a smaller classification team, but Peach County has always got a very good team, and they've traditionally played the Houston County schools pretty tough. Travis Hart says that defense is looking better and better each week. Man, I certainly agree. Donnie Sermons. Donnie, welcome aboard, man. He says, go Vikings. Candace Marie, Andy Powell. Yep. Marv right up the middle. No mercy. Yeah, you guys are tough. Jerry O'Neill asked the obvious question. Could it be silver helmets? Maybe so. Maybe there's something embedded in that silver. I don't know, but whatever it is, keep it coming. Keep it coming. All right. So Andy Powell says, I guess I am old school. It would be one thing if at the 40 or 30, but to right at the door is my issue. Andy, listen, the reason why I said I understand your sentiment is because I'm sure you would agree with me. There have been a number of games over the years, especially in playoff times, where Lowndes would get up 3+ touchdowns, right? And only to see a team come storming back and to knock us out of the playoffs. I mean, that's happened a couple of times. So I understand. So, I got a good buddy of mine where when we go to lunch, sometimes we reminisce about those days, and it's like, and we all both agree. It's like, man, if we just, when you got your foot on a team's neck, just keep pressing the gas. Don't let up. The worst thing they could do is, accuse you of trying to run up the score. But you know what they wouldn't be doing is saying you took your foot off the gas and you ended up losing the game. So which one would you rather have? Worst case scenarios in both situations there. Yeah, I would rather have. So Andy, I think this speaks to what you're saying. I would rather have or be accused of running up the score versus allowing someone to come back in the game. But in that particular situation where you just got a very, very little time left, you got the ball on someone's 2 or 3 yard lines, you're up several scores. To me, I would just take it. Let's see. The Candace says the kids have named this the BTA Tour Belt. I get it. Instead of GATA, GATA, get after that, beat that. Now that's funny. That is funny. I might make a meme about that or something. Travis says that Marvis Parish run, I call it the Marvis push at the end of the game, is the best run of the year so far in the state. Certainly agree. Could be the power of the silver comeback. Absolutely, man. Absolutely. So how do you knock off a werewolf or a vampire or a goblin with a silver bullet, right? I don't really know what creature I'm talking about. I just remember a silver bullet doing something. So maybe it is the silver in the helmet. I don't know. Candace agrees. We have taken our feet off the gas too many times, and it cost us. Absolutely. Oh, very painful memories. Absolutely. All right. So before we get into how the region is doing and, looking back on that game with one of my super fans, I'll let him get to where he's going. So, the question that I asked a while ago was when was the last time Lowndes went 5-0? Because it does feel good to say it. I don't care if you're a critic, a hater, a lover of the program, a casual fan, a hardcore fan, whatever the case might be. It's always good to be 5-0. So the last time it happened was in 2020. Jamie DuBose was the head coach, and here's how it went down. We started the season in the Corky Kell Classic facing Archer High School, beat them 35-21. Then we, then we beat Griffin High School 45-6. Oakleaf out of Orange Park, Florida, 37-17. We beat Lee County over here 38-13. If you'll remember, I believe that is the game where their head coach, Fabrizio, got flagged for something. I can't remember the details of it, but he was tossed from the game or ejected from the game. I think I remember that right. I think so, because I was actually calling that game with Phil Jones, I believe. I think that's right. And we kind of remember, and that was so funny because when Fabrizio got ejected from that game, he and Phil are big buddies. They really are. Well, Phil is big buddies with all the coaches around there. So in that particular game, Fabrizio gets ejected. He goes to the visiting locker room and he's texting with Phil, and we're on the air. And so he's texting back and forth, and we're joking about it with him and that kind of stuff. So it was just a fun night. It really was, especially when Lowndes ended up winning that game 38-13. Then we had the Wintersville Classic. Rush Probst was the head coach then, and we beat Valdosta 33-21. So imagine beating Dean Fabrizio and Rush Probst back-to-back weeks in 2020. That was a great time to be a Viking, right? And so kudos to Randy McPherson. He was the head coach. No, I'm sorry. I think Jamie DuBose. Yeah, Jamie DuBose was the head coach at the time. Then we went to, we hosted Tift County and beat them 17-13, going 6-0 on the season. And then we go over to Colquitt County, and we're 6-0 on the year. We're ranked number 1 in the state. No, I'm sorry. We were ranked number 2 in the state. Colquitt County was ranked number 3 in the state in 2020 when we went over to Moultrie. I don't know if you remember this, but we wore all white uniforms. I remember this because we got beat that night, and it was a butt whooping. We lost that game 40-10. And I don't know if you guys recall, we had the crimson helmet, we had white jerseys, solid white pants, no stripe down the side. And I just remember it was just a miserable night. And we lost that game 40-10, rebounded the following week and beat Camden County 28-21. Now, why was this significant in the year 2020? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Because we had 8 games in the regular season that year. Does that sound odd? Do you know why? Because it was 2020. It was a COVID year. And there were games being canceled left and right. I don't know if you guys remember that. So we were 7-1 after the regular season, went into the playoffs. And this is the year when we made it all the way to the semifinals and lost in the semifinals to Collins Hill, 31-14. That was we had a really good football team then. And so that was the last time we went 5-0. Now, so here's the kicker. And I'm going to bring our super fan Armand onto the screen. Armand, how are you, man?
Man, doing good, man. Just on the way home.
Good. Listen, I don't know if you heard any of that commentary there. So the last time we went 5-0, was 2020.
Yeah, 2020.
6-0 then, but we're undefeated this year. Going into the Colquitt County game, and both of those years, this year and 2020, we had to go over to Moultrie to do that. Now we're talking about 2 completely different teams from then and now. So what's your gut say? Do we have a repeat where we go over there and lose? Because I don't know why, man, but I'm very confident when Colquitt comes to Martin Stadium, because we seem to play with like our hair is on fire. But for some reason, mentally, for the last decade or so, when we go over to Moultrie, It's like a different team that shows up over there. What's your thought?
Well, the Hog Pen is a very intimidating place to play.
That's
Uh,
true.
it's always been that way. They got great fan support. It almost feels as if like they're right on top of you, you know, and they're like real close to the field. I can still remember hearing these little kids singing and dancing. You're in the Hog Pen now. You've been scored on now. Like I can still remember that. That's how close they were, and so it's just an intimidating place to play. And when you put that in with historically, Colquitt County has been one of the elite teams in the state. You know, so you got that intensity that's there, that's in the stadium, and you got a really, really good football team, and so it makes it hard to play. You know, and lately it seems like they've just had our numbers, especially when we go up there. So, but this year, I think this group was a little different, and I don't think it's gonna I think they're gonna be okay. But I will say for the first road game, man, we got a heck of a road to hope. So
Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely. So I want to ask you something along those lines before we get into a recap of last week's game. And it's this. Do you think as soon as this comes out of my mouth, the haters are probably going to come out and they're going to say, you don't deserve it, that kind of stuff. But here it is. You know, Lowndes is 5-0. And some people would say that's because of their weak non-region schedule. I got to remind them of the last 2 weeks, though. I mean, Manatee and Kale weren't pushovers, right?
no.
But when you compare that to the other teams in our region, you're talking very similar schedules. So here's my question for you. I'm specifically asking about rankings. Do you think Lowndes is being disrespected in the rankings across the state?
Where they got us? We're not ranked, are we?
We're not ranked.
I mean, no, not really.
Okay.
And the reason why I kind of like it like that, right? Because I know because you don't get that added pressure. You know, hey, we're number 5 in the state and we're playing a non-ranked team. You don't have the extra pressure. You don't have no expectations to live up to other than other than your own. But if I'm looking at, you know, kind of where we're at right now, 5 games in, we're not ranked. I think we kind of sit right outside the rankings, and that's okay with me. It's not one of those things where, because it don't matter. At the end of the day, it don't matter until you could be ranked number 1 losing the first round of the playoffs. So it doesn't matter.
Absolutely. The only thing that matters is you got to play the game and the outcome of the game, right?
Exactly.
So let me make an argument for why it does matter.
Okay.
And that is, you know, fans in general. I'm not talking about me, you, specifically anybody watching this program tonight, but fans in general are usually this way. When their team is in the rankings, they beat their chest, because I've done it myself. We beat our chest and say, look how good we are. The swagger is back. And like it or not, right? Other programs do look at those rankings and give you the respect. And sometimes sometimes that helps you to win the game before it's even played. Okay. Now, so fans in general will beat our chest, but the same fans, myself included, when we're not in the rankings, we're very quick to say, oh, it doesn't really matter. So we kind of try to have it both ways, don't we?
Yeah, I mean, I remember Coach Miller telling us, hey, forget about the number that's in front of us, right? Forget about it. It don't matter. That's what he was telling me. That he was telling us. Don't worry about that, because the only thing that matters is their ranking at the end of the season. We just want to be the last man standing, right? And so if I'm a coach communicating to my team, I'm using it. If we're ranked number 1, it don't matter. If we're not ranked, they're disrespecting you, right? So and so you get that chip on your shoulder. But as a fan, you know, right now, it doesn't matter right now. right?
Yeah.
Because like, I remember in the group chat, I said, okay, rehearsal's over, it's showtime.
That's right.
So, we got Colquitt County. We got to go up there and we got to handle business at Colquitt County. Then after that, we got Tifton. Got to go up there and handle business at Tifton. So we got 2 big road games back to back that we got to go and handle business. And if we go and handle business, then those numbers in the front of the team, they'll get put there in due time.
Yeah. That stuff usually works itself out. It really does. Now, some of the comments are pretty interesting comments. Like David Griffin says, let me put this on the screen. Now, you don't look at this since you're moving. David Griffin says they are only ranking mostly from last year's results. David, I would generally agree with you. That's usually how the rankings start out at the beginning of the season, but halfway through the season, the actual schedules kind of work themselves out, and the rankings are usually reflective of how the programs are. That's why I'm a big advocate of not even putting out rankings until after the 3rd game of the season. Because to me, a preseason ranking means absolutely nothing. You have no body of evidence at all to base an opinion on, right? It's just something that fans like to do. So the second interesting comment was, Sharon Hemp says, sometimes it just puts a target on your back. That's exactly right. Sometimes it works as a psychological advantage. Sometimes it puts a target on your back, that kind of stuff. Now, I failed to ask myself this question. How long has it been since we've had a Lowndes versus Colquitt game when neither team was ranked?
Oh, man. Wow.
I don't really know the answer to that question.
It might have been 92. No, they think they won state in 90. Well, I don't know. Got to be like late 80s. Probably.
Yeah, we could probably both agree that it's been probably quite a while, but it is happening this year.
Yeah.
Right. So with Colquitt's lost last week to Lee County, they have fallen out of the top 10. Right.
Yeah,
so this is the first time in years that I can recall.
What's their record, Larry?
Their record is 2-2.
2-2. Okay.
Yeah. So 2-2. They had an off week a couple of weeks ago, so that's why they're not off this week. So anyway, we're going over to Colquitt County, and I think rankings do matter, especially when we get at least halfway through the season. Mainly of the reasons I've already stated. And when you are not ranked like this, when you're 5-0, if I was a player, I would wear that. I would have a major chip on my shoulder because of my perceived lack of respect for this program.
I agree. I mean, I can remember thinking 96, the 96 season. I don't think we were ranked until like week 7.
Yeah.
And then, we kept winning. And then by the time we played Colquitt, I think we were ranked number 4. We played Valdosta, we were ranked number 2. My senior season, we was either 1, 2, or 3 the whole year.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter. I mean, as a player, yeah, it does matter, because if you're not ranked, you're like, okay, they disrespected me. But if you are ranked, you're like, yeah, we are that good. So
that's right.
It's a badge of honor. So
now Andy Powell's got a very interesting comment. Andy, I agree with you 100%. Andy says rankings will start showing where the programs are once region play begins.
Yeah.
100%. Because you can try to compare non-region records all you want to, but programs vary from week to week, schedule to schedule, but every region opponent has to play every other region opponent. Right. So great observation, Andy. Now, speaking of program comparisons, this week, since we have an open week, I thought it would be fun for me to go back and take a look at the programs in our region and try to compare the non-region schedules. So I'm going to throw that up on the screen. And listen, before I do this, some of you are going to get carried away. Some of you are going to say it doesn't matter. Some of you are going to say, oh, it does matter. This is just a fun exercise for a bunch of super fans. That's it. Okay. So don't read anything into this. Just thought I would share this on the screen real fast. Hold on one second here. All right, so I don't know if you can see that. Let me try to make that a little bit bigger. Okay. Let's see. Can I make that even bigger than that? Plus, okay, here we go. All right, so the way to read this thing is Lowndes up here in the top. If you can see my mouse pointer there. This is as of this week. Okay, Lowndes, according to the Max Preps computer ranking in Class 6A, according to the computer, Lowndes is ranked 13th in the state, outside of the top 10, averaging 44.4 points a game, giving up only 9.6 points a game after 5 games. Our strength of schedule is 16.8 on a scale of 100. Okay. No one ever, I don't care what team it is, no one ever has a strength of schedule near 70, 80, 100, that kind of stuff. Most of it, even the toughest non-region schedules, are usually around, maybe the high point is 50. So that gives you kind of a baseline comparison. Strength of schedule, 16.8. It is what it is. Okay. Now here's the teams that we've played and how they've fared. Jenkins is currently ranked 17, according to the Max Preps computer ranking. 17 in class. Oh, let me make that a little bit. In class 3A in the state of Georgia, currently ranked number 17. We beat him 49-7, and their strength of schedule was 2.8. So that's why we obviously say this was not a contender at all that we played. Mount Zion, currently ranked number 40 in class 3A in the state of Georgia. Their strength of schedule is 13.2. Now, this is the low water mark. Central Gwinnett ranked 39 in class 6A, and their strength of schedule is minus 3.7. Okay. Now, this is where it starts to get more interesting. Manatee is currently ranked number 5 in the state of Florida in class 5A. And remember, in the state of Florida, there's 7 classes. And so on last week's show, we compared their student population. If they were in the state of Georgia, Manatee would be firmly in class 5A. Okay. So they're ranked number 5 in the state. High quality program there. Lowndes beat them pretty handily, 30-15. Now, finally, last week, Kell is currently ranked number 17 in the state in Georgia class 4A. And their strength of schedule is 21.7. So there you have it. And you see their current season records right here as well. So, guys, you think it's a fair comparison or no?
I think so. I mean,
Okay.
I mean, like, I was a proponent for this schedule, right? If you go back and rewind,
I remember we had a debate about that. I remember
we had a debate, and so far, the professor has been knowing, because I said that we need this kind of schedule. We need a couple of Hepzibahs on the schedule, and
I promise I did not put him in the penalty box because he was going to basically make a very cogent point. So, Armand, you have frozen on your screen. So let me go ahead and bring on our other super fan, Chase. How are you, man?
What's up?
So how did our JV do?
8th grade done really well.
You went to the 8th grade game. That's right.
Yeah, I went to the 8th grade game against Tift.
All right, Chase, what Armand and I were talking about was kind of debating about this non-region schedule. I just put up the, our non-region schedule, how the teams that we've played, how they've fared in their season schedule, their strength of schedule, that kind of stuff. Armand still clings to the notion that this was the exact non-region schedule that we needed. What's your final word on that before we move on beyond that?
I will say that the last 2 opponents were a lot bigger and a lot more physical than
completely agree.
The first 3. Kell was a really good test. I mean, you got to remember, their running back, I believe, is a 4-star, maybe a 5-star, depending on what recruiting website you look at. But I mean, that's a stout running back.
Absolutely.
And Lowndes' defensive front kept him bottled up all night. So
all night long. As a matter of fact, later on tonight, I'm going to be, I meant to do it earlier this week. Later on tonight, Armand sent me a video clip that he took during the game of one of these running plays. And man, you should see the Lowndes front six, front seven, just really dominate that line of scrimmage. Bottled him up all night long.
Yeah.
So yeah. So so can we definitively say the Lowndes defense has re-arrived on the scene and has returned to the physical nature of what Lowndes defenses are known for?
I will say they are climbing extremely fast, and I think a lot faster than what people thought they would.
Yeah.
I think they're climbing a lot faster than what even I thought they would. But listen, our defensive ends, outside of a few containment issues here and there, have been really good. They've and our linebacking core. Uh, I think you posted a couple of the pictures that I took Friday night where I was behind uh, Kale's quarterback, and I'm looking right into the eyes of our linebackers,
Right.
and I mean, you can tell they're all business. Uh, they're reading things the right way. They're making the right plays, uh, and I've been really impressed. Uh, the Norwood effect is real.
Man,
Uh,
you're not kidding.
yeah, that's the hardest. I think that's the hardest hit secondary I've seen in Lowndes in a while. I mean, them boys will pop you quick.
Man, you know what, guys, you know what really impressed me about Lowndes' defense more than anything Friday night? It wasn't the fact that we were rallying to the ball, we were playing good, physical, sound defense, but that secondary in particular really, really stood out.
Yeah.
Because how many times, let's be honest, how many times in years past, even back as far as Randy McPherson, how many times in year past when Lowndes would get up two, maybe three scores and a team was forced to throw on us and they would throw it deep, everybody in the stadium and their brother knew the ball was going deep. And how many times were opponents able to throw over the top and usually score touchdowns on us?
All the time.
It happened all the time. So Friday night, I'm thinking, okay, here we come. Here we go. We're forcing these guys to throw it. They're about to throw it deep. Let's see how we react. So what do? We got DBs and safeties batting down balls, intercepting balls, breaking up passes. Man, it was a great sight to behold. Is that
Yeah,
the
like
Josh Norwood effect? That's what people are telling me.
I've saw Norwood coach, man. This is his second stint of me being able to watch him coach
Yeah.
a secondary. Um, and I will call it the Norwood effect. More so, I think, because you got to remember Norwood's a lot younger than most coaches that
Mhm.
coach high school football, so he is able to relate to these guys and able to build a bond with them because of his youth. So it does. I feel like it does make a difference, um, and it allows him to get the best out of these kids because I don't know if y'all have watched, but every week these kids are interacting with these coaches. These coaches are excited. The kids are excited. It's just a bleed over effect, man, and
Right.
it's something that me personally I love to see.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let me
Now,
say this.
Go ahead,
I
Omar.
got one thing to say. And this came from a player, and he said we bought. He said we're all in, coach. That was his message to me. He said we're all in. And so when he
Nice.
sent me that message, I was like, that's telling me one thing: A, they're buying into the program. They bought into the program, and two, they understand what they're doing. So I don't think like what you're saying now. I think you see a team like difference between last year and this year's defense is they understand what they're doing. They know their assignments, and you can tell this just by walking up and down the sidelines. They're talking to each other and they're communicating. Say, hey, no, you gotta get a little deeper in your drop. Like they understand it, and so that when you understand your scheme, it allows you to play free and you're
Right.
not thinking about, oh, where am I supposed to be? You just know where you're supposed to be and you just react. And I think that's what we're seeing. And I do think Josh Norwood, Coach Norwood, has had a huge effect because, like Chase said, he's young, he's fresh, and you could tell he's passionate about what he's doing and the kids that he's coaching.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Now, I do have to disagree with my friend Wilbur Pelfrey on something that he said. He said, "I'm glad the rumblings of the 3-3 stack have died out." Crickets. Wilbur, not exactly, not
No,
exactly, because we still have to
No.
face tougher region opponents, and we still have to face potentially tougher playoff opponents before because we can't definitively say the 3-3 stack is working for Lounge yet because of this non-region schedule question. That's the only point that the opponents of the 3-3 stack would say. Now,
yeah,
to me, I don't care if it's the 3-3 stack or the 3-4, or I'm just not a big fan of a three-man front in high school football, period. I don't care if it's 3-3 stack or any other flavor of a three-man front. I'm just not a big fan of a three-man front in general at the high school level. Now, I could be proven wrong once we go through the entire season, but we'll see. Chase, you're about to say something.
yeah. Now, I'm not a big fan of the 3-man front, but I'm not gonna say it doesn't work because
Yeah,
it does. As football offenses, especially at this level, continue to evolve and get more pass heavy,
yeah,
which you're starting to see a lot of. Camden's going to be pass heavy this year. Um, Richmond Hill throws it all over the field. Valdosta, I think, is going to be probably a little more balanced. I think probably a little bit more run
yeah,
heavy than most. Hawkwood, I think, is probably going to be balanced as well. Judging from what I've read, I haven't seen them play, but just from what I've read,
yeah,
um, but outside of Valdosta being a more run dominant team, uh, the 3-man front will work on teams that want to throw the football because it allows you to drop more guys in coverage. So I will say they cover the flats out pretty well. The little quick outs that we used to be getting beat on
yeah,
doesn't seem to be beating us. And I will say this for that secondary, even on quick slant routes that normally teams would throw and then get extra yardage behind
yeah.
it, they're quick, they're on it. As soon as that ball's caught, or they're either popping that ball free on the first lick or they are limiting the amount of yardage that they get.
Absolutely. Now, Armand, you're more of a defensive guy. Here's something. I got into a debate once with another pretty passionate Lowndes fan about a three-man front because I remember the last several years that Randy was the head coach. He went from a strictly 50 or 5-2 defensive front to a 3-4. Many people forget that Byron Slack was a 3-4 guy. And
Mhm.
he was go and ask him. And he will tell you that the 3-4 is basically the modern day spread version of the 5-2 defense because many times the 3-4, you got four linebackers that you easily walk up to make that three-man
Mhm.
front into a five-man front. So the proponents of a 3-4 will argue all day long, and probably rightfully so, that yeah, you do have slightly smaller defensive ends when those outside linebackers walk up to the line, but it is more versatile type of defense because now you can easily drop those guys back into coverage, go into zone blitzes, a lot of different versatility versus strictly a five-man, hands on the dirt defensive front. But a 3-3 stack is a little bit different. Now, I don't mind a 3-3 stack because many times you'll see our guys start to walk up two guys up to the line of scrimmage. Sometimes we'll get into a six-man front out of it, depending on the need and the situation. But as a base defense, still not a big proponent of three guys on the front line, regardless of what flavor it is. Armand, what's your
And
opinion on that?
I'm with you. Like my issues with the three band front is simple. Um, there's too many seams that you can,
Yeah,
you know, to run through. Too many airways to run through. Now, if you got the linebackers to plug them, that's fine. But to be honest with you, you got to have like huge, like for whenever it's been effective. And you can look at Georgia. Georgia runs like a 3-3-5. And but they're huge. Those are like top tier athletes. on the high school level, I always say you got to at least send four. Even with a couple of offensive coordinators I've talked to who or former head coaches, they say when I see a 3-3, I'm ready. I already know exactly where I'm running because it's just how the alignment is, right? A four-man front, it allows you to have a zero shade, allows you to walk up a linebacker to actually put up four. You can say, you know what, I want to substitute my outside linebacker for DBs, so I can have five DBs, or you can literally take two more DBs, keep your inside linebacker there, and you can have what, six? So it's I think the versatility in the 4-3 and the 3-4 is nothing is is really based off 4-3 principles, to be honest with you. But it's just, I don't know. I just prefer it. And at the high school level, I think you give me four hands in the dirt, give me $4 getting after the quarterback, plugging lanes, keeping the linemen off my linebackers, and let my linebackers make plays. That's what I prefer. But
Yeah. So now
I
you
will
said
say this.
something. You said something in your commentary there for our viewers that aren't as keen on the technical side of defense and scheming,
Yeah,
that kind of stuff. You said that with the three-man front, the inability to shade. What did you mean by that?
the inability to shade. So you'll have a zero shade. You playing the one technique. You got your ends playing the three technique or the four technique. So when you're shading to the either the strong side of the field, depending on what you're trying to stop. So if it's the tight ends line up to the right, my my nose guard or my defensive tackle is going to be playing in that zero shade, which is going to be to his right. So that's what it means. And so what that does, that allows you to fill the gap, and to you get hats and hands, you control that offensive lineman, and you seal that gap. And so if there is going to be, and what it does, it allows your linebackers to scrape to play side to side. It allows them to scrape and then come downhill, and they can identify the play. But when you got just three, it's too easy to take that guard
Yeah.
with that nose tackle lineup over the center. It's too easy to take that guard and just move him out of double team him and move him out of the way, or it allows the offensive lineman to get to the second level. And when you're able to get to the second level with your offensive lineman, and Chase to tell you, you're getting 5, 6, 7 yards a pop if you're able to get to the second level. And that's the reason why I don't like the 3-3 stack. It's a little porous at times.
Gotcha. Okay. Chase, reflecting on the game last week against Kel, what did you like? What was your takeaway from the offensive side of the ball? What did you like that we did really, really well?
Marvis is a problem.
Okay.
He's a big problem. He's a big
Calculus.
problem for teams. Uh, that- because of the way Lounge uses him now, which I've said from Jump Street, Larry, me and you talked about it for years, uh, how he needed to be on the field with somebody else at quarterback because he was just too explosive
That's
just
right.
to be bottled into that one position. Um, and the way they're using him on defense too. But our offense is getting to the point where it's not predictable. There's times where me and Armand will be over there, we're side by side and we're looking at it, we're going, okay, well, in this set, this is what is going to happen. And it's usually something else that happens. It's
Hmm.
it's not it's unorthodox to an extent. Uh, it's weird. That's the best way I can use to describe it. It's weird. But there is one thing, like I love that they're incorporating the tight end.
Yeah.
I love that they are letting Aiden Sifa just explode and expose weaknesses in that defense. Because let's face it, when you've got a tight end the size of Aiden Sifa, he is a mismatch problem for linebackers
Yes.
because they're not big enough, they're not tall enough to cover him, and they're not fast enough to stay step for step with him because he's just too long. Uh, it's Jace is progressing faster than I thought he would. His footwork is getting better every week. One of the things me and Armand talked about this past week, he's learning how to step over people. They for the first I think 3 games, me and Armand and even you, Larry, talked about it. How people were diving at his legs. They're trying to take his knees out, trying to take his ankles out. And granted, that's what you teach against a guy his size, but he's learning how to avoid the dive and just kind of casually step over these guys.
Yeah.
And it's making a difference in his runs. Look at how more explosive his runs were this past week. He had some really good runs. Uh, Arlene Brown, very explosive out of the backfield. But let me tell you something. That offensive line, oh man, dude, they are getting better and better every week, and they are becoming a problem for defensive coordinators
Yeah.
because they can block, and some of them have just got a nastiness about the way they block.
Yeah.
Uh,
I saw one defender Friday night that was unstoppable. You just could not block the guy.
and you'll run into players like that, man. I mean, it's
Well,
just
I'm talking about a Lowndes guy,
oh yeah,
a,
number
a,
95.
a guy
95.
on defense that just could not be stopped. I'm gonna actually put his picture up on the screen. I want you guys to tell me what's the first thing that comes to your mind when you see this picture on the screen. You ready for it?
Mhm.
Check out this stud.
Oh man.
For the viewers that don't know, that is a picture of Armand when he was wearing the crimson and white.
Wow.
Tell us about this
Wow.
picture, Armand. It seems like you were kind of proud of yourself that night.
Yeah, so that's before I want to say we played. It's definitely senior year. I want to say we played Bainbridge. We're playing Bainbridge
Okay.
at home, and that was beforehand. 44 is Dennis Lane. He was the captain. Number 2 is Brandon Coward, and number 72 that's Jason Tone, Coach Tone, by the way. So I just remember. I think I just went out there to go. Me and Dennis, we always talk. He was the other linebacker as well. And so I just went out there right before just to go talk to him.
Yeah.
What we always do. It didn't matter. Saying, hey, coach said X, Y, and Z. This is what we're doing. Just kind of running over some things. But yeah, that's funny, man. That is funny. But
Unstoppable.
I am proud of it, man. I am proud of this picture because I remember I can't remember who gave me the picture, but when she gave it to me, she blew it up. Her dad would take pictures in the stands, and so every weekday she'd come and give us these pictures, and I was just happy to get that one. I was like, oh man, that's a good one right there. So that's me right there.
Well, we got one more to share with the folks tonight. Check this one out.
Let's see.
Look at that.
Oh wow, now that's the worst picture.
Look at this photo right up here.
Wow.
I'm gonna pull it
Wow.
up.
That one there.
Look at the man looks like a GQ model.
I was
Listen.
figuring he was kind of trying to look like Deion Sanders, but
Nah. I can tell you about this picture here. So they would line us up, one by one, right? Line us up, and they come down the line taking pictures. Well, something happened, and I just remember kind of turning my head a little bit. And the next thing I know, I was like, "Did you take my picture?" And so I had no idea until this came out. Well, I was happy to be in the grid times. Normally when they put you up there, they kind of identify you as a player to watch, as an impact player. But
Yeah.
I saw this, I was like, really? This is how they took my picture. Like, yeah. But everybody else gets to look like Terrence Hausendorf over there. But yeah.
Now, when it comes to running backs at Lowndes High School, Terrence's name is not brought up very often, but he was a pretty good running back.
Man, because Terrence was unselfish. You know what I mean? Terrence primarily played fullback. but he started as a sophomore, and so he was a fullback for Edward Mack. Junior year, Alvin Strickland came back and played, and so it was kind of Alvin Strickland, Michael Brown, Terrence Hosendorf. Um, Senior year, Marcus Haynes came back, so you had Terrence Hosendorf, Marcus Haynes, Michael Brown again, and then Sweet Pea, Vern Burns played fullback as well, but he was just unselfish. He was that, believe it or not, the fullback. He was our third down back. Also, you had Tyrone Wright playing tailback as well. So he was unselfish. Like when I say unselfish, but as unselfish as can be. He would
Sure.
run. He was a running back. He was a punter. Sometimes he was a kicker. Terrence was un. He was just not. He was just an unselfish person, an ultimate team player.
Yeah, absolutely. I miss the days when teams like Coffee County would play Lowndes every year. I remember one of the last times we played Coffee County. He is an NFL superstar now. Tyreek Hill came over and
Yeah,
played
he's from
for
Georgia.
Coffee in Martin Stadium, one of the best running backs in the state. And that Lowndes defense got after him that night and bottled him up all night long. So it was fun, those types of games.
Also, Manatee's head coach, Jacquez Green, played at Peach County. And his senior year, they played at Lowndes. And when I tell you that he put on the show, he threw one, he caught one, he ran one, and he returned one. He scored a touchdown every way except on the defensive side of the ball.
So if the grand slam were in football, he hit for the cycle, huh?
He did. He hit for the cycle that night. I was like, goodness.
All right, so as we wrap it up tonight, let's go over the stats real quick. Against Kell, we were 9 of 15 passing for 169 yards. That's a 60% completion ratio. Still against a quality defensive unit, our completion rate is still above that 60% rate, which is where we want to see it. Rushing for the night, we were 24 carries for 197 yards. And so that gave us a total of 366 yards on the night. So almost having a 400-yard offensive night is pretty good against a high-quality defense.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I was proud of our offense, man. I really was.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. All right, so let me go ahead and go over the standings for the region, and then we'll wrap it up. So through 5 weeks, we haven't played a region game yet, so nobody's in the lead from anyone else. So Camden County sits at 5-0. They are off this week. Lowndes sits at 5-0. They are off. Valdosta is 5-0. They're off. Richmond Hill is 4-0. They will be hosting a team out of Florida called Buckholtz County or Buckholtz High School. And then Colquitt County is 2-2 with a loss to Lee County 47-35. Listen, let me give you a word of caution. Do not take Colquitt County lightly and look at their record of 2-2. They've lost to two very good teams this year. And Lee County, I think everybody agrees, is a very high quality 5A program. And that Colquitt County offense still scored 35 points on them. Do you know how Lee County got 2 of their scores against Colquitt that night? Bad offensive snaps where the ball went either through the quarterback's hands because they threw it. They were running a wildcat play with the running back one time. The running back was distracted. The ball went on the snap, went right by him. Lee County, I think, recovered within the 5-yard line. They got a score that way. Another bad snap over the quarterback's head. Lee County recovered, got a score that way. So that's 2 quick scores, and they still scored 35 points on Lee County. So don't take Colquitt County lightly. And then Tiff County is currently 2-3, and they do not play this Friday night as well. So that's a wrap up on the region. Now, next week, we'll follow up on the region as well and start to take a look at how the playoff brackets may start to develop. Because I think Region 1, takes on Region 5. If I'm not mistaken, takes on Region 5 in the first round this year. So we'll get into that a little bit more as well. So, guys, that's going to wrap us up for tonight. Armand, what you going to be doing tomorrow night on our off week?
I'm just relaxing. Just relaxing. I don't know. Might do something, but more likely just gonna relax. Also, I just want to give a shout out to that young man from Kel, the running back number 6.
Absolutely.
That guy, man. While everything else was going on, like he's a class act. Let me just say
Yeah,
that
he really
he
is.
is a class act, and I just want to give him a shout out. I don't know his name, but the running back from Kel was a class act. Oh, so shout out to him.
For sure. For sure. Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah,
What
all that
was his name? I cannot remember what his name was. Was his last name Gibson?
yeah, I think
Gibson?
so. I
Yeah,
think so.
think
I
so.
think so. I think
Yeah,
so.
he was while all that mess is going on, he's over there by himself. I don't really know whether he was reflecting or just looking at everything that was going on, but yeah, he wasn't involved in none of that was going on, none of that after game festivities, we'll call it.
Yeah,
Oh,
Quintarius Gibson with a P.
yeah,
Quintarius Gibson, number 6, was their running back. 5'10", 200 pounds. And he was a load.
yeah,
You know?
he's a good running back. He's a
Yeah.
great running back. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, he's a load. He kind of remind me of Chase Belcher a little bit, the way he was built up.
Does kind of, yeah.
Yeah, the way he was built up. Absolutely.
So, Chase, what you got going on tomorrow night?
Man, I don't really know. I was thinking about seeing if you guys wanted to go get something to eat.
I don't know. I haven't decided yet. And the reason why I haven't decided is
Oh,
because
don't tell me Berrien's playing.
what's that now?
Don't tell me Berrien's
Oh
playing.
my God, man! Why you picking? Why you have to go there? Why
Oh,
you got to
because
pick on my
I know
Rebels?
if Lowndes ain't playing and Berrien's playing, that's where Larry's gonna be.
Berrien is actually off this week.
Okay.
Berrien's off. But tomorrow night, I believe Brooks County is hosting Pierce County
That
over
might be
in
a good game.
Quitman. So that's probably going to be a good game. Pierce County has developed quite a reputation for themselves since Coach Herring has taken over that program in the last several years with, I think, 2 state championships. So that promises to be a pretty good game, a pretty good test for Brooks County as well.
Junior Burris is a heck of a quarterback over there at Brooks too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Um,
So I'll get
yeah.
with you guys and let you know my plans are for sure. So I'm probably either going to do that or figure out something else. So it'll be related to football somehow.
and please, Viking Nation, I know he's not a Viking, but he was for a long time. Y'all, please keep Tate Snellgrove in your thoughts and prayers. He got injured Friday night.
Did he really?
Yes.
Oh,
He's on the mend, but it's going to take a little bit. Just keep him in your thoughts and prayers.
is he going to have to miss a bunch of games?
He's probably going to miss a few weeks.
Hate to hear that. Good kid, stellar athlete.
And carries a 4.2 GPA.
Yeah.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Well, guys, listen, thank you so much for joining another great episode of the Viking Nation Live. Hope you have a great off night tomorrow night, whatever you decide to do. Whatever you decide to do this weekend, hope you find yourself in church on Sunday, praising the Lord. So may God bless every single one of you. And as always, on behalf of Armand, Chase, I'm Larry Godwin. You guys have been watching the Viking Nation Live. Go Vikings.
Go Vikes.
Go Vikings.